Have a fun video you'd like to see featured on NCW Life? Email us at newsphotos@ncwlife.com.
It's time for NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. The latest from the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington with Steve Hare, Grant Olson, and sports with Eric Granstrom.
Good Friday evening and welcome to the NCW Life Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. Another nice one all across North Central Washington. We did see a mix, about a 50-50 mix of clouds and some sun today as we take a look down at the Columbia River, and just a light band of cloudiness hanging low above the river. And we will see an increase in clouds throughout tonight and tomorrow before a storm system moves in us, especially late in the day Saturday and into Saturday night. Here's what we can expect. Mainly mountain snow for tonight and maybe some rain mixed with, or I should say, Saturday night. And then by Sunday, we do have a potential for more significant snow, about an inch, maybe to 3 inches possible here in the Wenatchee Valley. And we will tell you much more about that coming up a little bit later on in your weather forecast. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Area voters will now decide whether or not to approve a Link Transit sales tax increase. An 8th District congressional candidate, Dino Rossi, has been making his rounds around the Wenatchee Valley, and we caught up with him. But first, we begin tonight. The Hearst rural water rights debate is over following action by the state legislature late Thursday. The House and Senate have approved a compromise to address the controversial state Supreme Court ruling on water conservation. The bipartisan bill relaxes the court-ordered regulations on small wells and spends $300 million on water conservation projects throughout the state. State lawmakers also passed a $4.3 billion capital budget, which had been held up by Republican lawmakers until the Hearst fix was completed. Governor Jay Inslee says he intends to sign both the Hearst legislation and the construction budget as soon as they reach his desk. Well, it will now be up to area voters on whether or not to approve a Link Transit 0.2% sales tax increase to fund Sunday bus services, have more frequent routes, and to provide longer hours of service. At a special Link Transit board meeting earlier this week, the board decided to place the issue on the upcoming November ballot. Link board member Kevin Overbay explains why the board decided to wait until this fall.
We really want to make sure that it's transparent, that they understand exactly why it is that Link is asking for the increase in sales tax, what would actually be provided to the citizens with regards to the improvements to the Link system, and how that was going to look. And so, realistically, we want to take a step back. We wanted to do our due diligence. We wanted to be transparent, and basically wanted to let them know, give the voters an opportunity to actually have all of that information, in their hands before they actually cast their ballot.
I know here at the Transportation Council meeting this morning, there are also some questions about, well, why doesn't Link just raise the fares instead of going to the sales tax?
Yeah, the fares actually, even if they were to raise them, to double them, it would actually only provide about $600,000 additional revenue. The sales tax increase, which when you really break it down, it's about 2 cents, once the 2 cent amount would be implemented, would be 2 cents on $10 or 20 cents on 100, would actually run about $8 per person or $24 a household. Really comes out to be about $6 million revenue versus the $600,000 revenue. And so realistically, by raising the fares, it would only generate 10% of what the sales tax would generate. So and that would not be enough to actually increase the services that were identified by those folks that took the survey that was sent out this last year.
The board reached a consensus that a phased-in request over 2 years with separate 0.1% hikes per year was still the preferred choice. 2 Link surveys indicated riders wanted the service improvements and would be willing to pay for them with increased sales taxes. 8th District congressional candidate Dino Rossi has been making his rounds around the Wenatchee Valley. Rossi announced last year that he would seek the position being vacated by U.S. Representative Dave Reichert. Rossi was in Wenatchee earlier today and says he's seeking the U.S. congressional seat because of his love for public service and his experience in politics.
And I'm an optimist. The way I look at it, I'm kind of getting in on the ground floor. There's nowhere to go but up. And that's kind of how I see it right now. And the skills that I have that I've demonstrated in Olympia, I think will translate well back in D.C. being able to balance budgets. I mean, I'm the guy that balanced the biggest deficit in state history without raising taxes and still protected the vulnerable. And I did it with getting the Republicans together, but also bringing some moderate Democrats with me. Those are skills that seem to be in short supply back in D.C. That's what I plan to bring.
So you're here in Wenatchee today. Tell me what kind of things you're trying to find out and what you're trying to garner by being in Wenatchee.
We're talking to people throughout the district, and obviously we're over here. We've been in Leavenworth this morning, and Cashmere, and in Wenatchee, and we were down in Ellensburg and Cle Elum yesterday. And I just really want to talk to people. I've got a lot of friends out here, and we're making new friends as well. And finding out on the ground, what are the issues, what things do you want to see your member of Congress do or not do. And those are the kind of discussions that we're having right now. We're getting obviously strong support from pretty much all elected officials in the district, even on the west side as well. And so it's been a very enjoyable trip.
So far, Rossi is the lone Republican to declare his candidacy for the congressional seat and is best known for his narrow loss in the 2004 gubernatorial race against Christine Gregoire. Rossi has served in the state Senate since 2012. Wenatchee School District Superintendent Brian Flonis was presented an award yesterday for going the extra mile. The Going the Extra Mile Award is presented annually at the Wenatchee Leadership Team meeting. Award winners are nominated by their peers, and Superintendent Flonis was nominated by school district staff along with various community leaders, including Dr. Sue Kane, Director of the Apple STEM Network, John McQuaig, CEO of McQuaig & Welk, and the Executive Director of the Wenatchee Downtown Association, Linda Haglund. Haglund says Flonis is, quote, a visionary for the district and has been successful in building new schools and creating an environment for creativity and growth. Coming up next, sentencing is slated for Monday for one of 3 suspects in the 2017 murder of a Quincy area woman. And Grant County deputies say a 17-year-old Moses Lake youth wanted for kidnapping and robbery has been apprehended thanks to a citizen's tip. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life Evening News.
Antique Mall at Cashmere wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone. For repurposing projects, do-it-yourselfers, and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, this is the place to find your next project. Antique Mall at Cashmere, their friendly staff is here to help you. Stop on by today.
My name is Robert Duff. Current and previous occupation is architect, engineer, and lawyer. Grew up here in Washington, born in Moses Lake. When I first came to CVCH, was looking for a place to get some dental work done. I was really impressed with the people at the counter. I mean, they were just on top of it. It only took her like 15 minutes to do the job. I didn't feel anything. The technology is so great, you don't even realize you're at the dentist. These people are so professional. I would have any one of these people in my home for dinner. These people are family.
Travel enhances your life in every way. Let the travel professionals at Journey Travel and Tours help you plan that dream vacation. Don't leave the important details to those nameless, faceless online agencies. At Journey Travel and Tours, our goal is to build relationships that last a lifetime. And when you do need help, we have a 24-hour helpline that is routed to one of the agents in our office. When you think travel, think Journey Travel and Tours. It's where your journey begins. Like us on Facebook, and you could be one of our monthly winners.
Welcome back. In another news, sentencing is slated for Monday for one of 3 suspects in the 2017 murder of a Quincy area woman. 26-year-old Ambrosia Mendez Villanueva pleaded guilty this week to second-degree murder in the death of 31-year-old Jill Sundberg. 2 co-defendants are scheduled for trial in April. Mendez Villanueva, 40-year-old Gustavo Tapia Rodriguez, and 26-year-old Julio Cesar Alabon are accused in the kidnapping and murder of Jill Sundberg. Sundberg's body was found December 22nd near a rest stop on the Old Vantage Highway. Prosecutors allege Sundberg was killed after she got into an argument with one of the men at an RV park near Quincy. Her body was riddled with bullets and a message posted to her chest with a knife referencing a Mexican drug cartel. During testimony before the U.S. Senate's Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee in Washington, D.C., Chief Deputy Ryan Rechtenwald said the murder suspects are in the country illegally. Grant County deputies say a 17-year-old Moses Lake youth wanted for kidnapping and robbery has been apprehended thanks to a citizen's tip. The teen male was arrested at a home on South Frontage Road West, southwest of George. After first refusing to come out, the youth was quickly found and subdued by canine Grizzly. The boy was taken to a local hospital for treatment of his wounds and then taken to juvenile detention. Another teen male at the home was taken into custody for harboring a fugitive and obstructing law enforcement officers. The arrest stems from an incident which happened in the early hours of December 19th, where a man was robbed and his vehicle stolen north of Ephrata. The man identified the suspects as the 17-year-old male, along with 22-year-old Christian Bustos of Soap Lake and 29-year-old David Knott Jr. of Soap Lake. The victim was acquainted with all three of the suspects. Bustos and Knott were captured on December 21st, are in custody in the Grant County Jail on charges of first-degree robbery and first-degree kidnapping. The stolen vehicle was recovered on December 19th by Ephrata police. It had been abandoned in the Swanson's Addition neighborhood. Moses Lake police report the arrest of a wanted felon that nets 3 illegal guns and federal charges. In a prepared statement, police officers teamed up with members of the Northwest Violent Offenders Task Force to locate 24-year-old Isaac Bruno Avila of Moses Lake. Avila had a warrant for his arrest. Officers were able to locate him and take him down on a traffic stop. While he was being arrested, officers located evidence of firearms and ammunition inside his vehicle. As a felon and being on probation, Avila is prohibited from possessing firearms or ammunition. Officers located 3 firearms, including an AK-47 type rifle, an SKS rifle, and a shotgun. Avila was booked into the Grant County Jail, and the case has been referred to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms for federal charges. Seasonal weight restrictions are now in effect on several Manson area roads. Temporary weight restrictions are put in place annually to protect the roadways from damage. Only emergency vehicles, school buses, or vehicles processing a special permit issued by the county engineer are exempt. Haulers may have to follow other restrictions, including time restrictions on the road. At this time, several roads throughout the county are being monitored for weight restrictions. To keep up on impacted roads, visit the traffic alerts and restrictions page on the Chelan County Public Works website, where there is a list of the restricted roads as well as an interactive map. The free permit also is available on that website. Haulers are reminded that applications must be in by 10 a.m. Monday through Friday for approval for travel the following day. Freight haulers who do not have a permit to travel on a weight-restricted road risk a fine as well as the cost of damages for any road repairs. You're watching the NCW Life Evening News. Coming up next, your sports update, followed by today's feature story. That and much more still to come on the NCW Life Evening News. Stay with us.
For plumbing, heating, or cooling repair, Patriot will be right there.
Time to replace your home comfort system? This Lennox dealer can help.
If it's time to replace your old furnace or air conditioner, Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives free estimates. Call Patriot today.
Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will give your home a hug.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Hey, this is Justin at Club Crow Bar and Grill reminding you it's your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Jam sessions and live bands playing a wide range of music. If pool tables or pull tabs are more your thing, we have you covered. Enjoy the fun and food at Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Stop on by today.
And now it's a sports update on the NCW Life channel.
And a happy finally Friday. Let's check the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard from last night. First of all, in girls basketball, Antioch improved to 6-0 in Central Washington 1B league play with a 76-20 win over Wilson Creek. Waterville Mansfield won its third straight by downing Manson in a low-scoring affair 29-17. And Chelan topped Cascade in the Lone Caribou Trail League game last night 42-26. Turning to the boys' side last night on the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard, Antioch made it 2 wins in a row by getting back to 500 at 3-3 in Central Washington 1B league play with a 58-14 win over Wilson Creek. Waterville Mansfield pulled out a 48-45 win over Manson and get back to a game over 500 in Central Washington 2B league play. And Cascade earned its first league win of the season, downing Chelan 57-33 in CTL play. Coming up in the pool, this is from yesterday. Wenatchee bested Moses Lake 106-80 to grab first place in the Big Nine standings, while Eastmont fell on the road to West Valley 106-75. On the prep schedule for today in girls basketball, only 2 games on the slate for tonight. We'll have one of those live on the NCW Life channel. Wenatchee hosting Eastmont at 5:45. Cashmere travels to Omak to take on the Pioneers, also at 5:45. Coming up tomorrow, Cascade will make up its snow out game with Bridgeport at 2. Antioch's on the road to the west side of the mountains for a game at Concrete at 2:30. Cashmere hosts number 19 team in the states, RPI Index Montesano. That's at Rondon Memorial Gymnasium tomorrow at 5:45. Wenatchee on the road at West Valley. Eastmont hosting Ike, both at 5:45. Manson hosts Lake Roosevelt and Waterville Mansfield at Tonasket, both at 6. Boys basketball this weekend. First tonight, Cashmere is at Omak at 7:15. Wenatchee hosting Eastmont live on the NCW Live channel at 7:30. Hey, just a reminder too, between tonight's girls and boys game, Wenatchee will feature its annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we'll carry that live on the NCW Live channel starting at about 7 o'clock. Added to the Hall of Fame this year are Audrey Ketchum from the class of 2012, former volleyball coach Jeff Lucas, Kip Fagg from the class of 82, Larry Fox from the class of 59, and his brother Vernon from the class of 61. Back to the schedule coming up Saturday, Bridgeport's at Cascade. That's a 3:30 start time. Cashmere hosts Granite Falls at 7:15. 7:30 start time for Lake Roosevelt at Manson, Waterville Mansfield at Tonasket, Wenatchee at West Valley, and Eisenhower at Eastmont. Wenatchee hosting the Big Nine for an 11 dive meet that happening today earlier at the Wenatchee High School pool. Also in wrestling, the Wenatchee Grapplers are on the road to start the Prosser Invite tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. The Wenatchee Wild will try to make it 3 wins in a row tonight when they host Victoria at the Town Toyota Center. The Grizzlies and Wild will drop the puck at 7 o'clock. Also Pucks and Paws night at the Town Toyota Center. So bring your dogs. Tonight's also dollar hot dog, Pepsi, and beer night tonight. Then coming up tomorrow, it's the second team poster night of the season as the Wild take on the Nanaimo Clippers at 7 o'clock. First 1,000 fans will get a Wenatchee Wild team poster, and the entire team will be available after the game to autograph it for you. Our checker was on earlier this morning. We'll have those highlights coming up Monday right here on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network. It is. Wenatchee Apple Sox have finalized their 2018 Summer Collegiate Baseball schedule. It will be the Sox 19th summer of baseball in the Valley. Feature 59 games, 31 at home. The home opener June 5th against the River City Athletics. Apple Sox Firework Night is back again July 3rd. For more on the season, go to applesox.com. It's also the semifinals of the NFL postseason tournament this weekend. AFC Championship Jacksonville at New England at 12:05 on CBS. NFC title will be in Philadelphia where the Eagles host Minnesota at 3:40, and that will be on Fox. Busy weekend. Get out there and enjoy it. I'm Eric Granstrom with Sports. Grant, back to you.
Thanks, Eric. Today's features story is brought to you by Wenatchee High School's Future Business Leaders of America, or FBLA. FBLA is a program designed to help students get involved with the community and be prepared for engaging in the workforce after graduation. So if you have kids at home that are looking to expand their horizons, encourage them to get involved with FBLA.
FBLA is Future Business Leaders of America. It's a club oriented towards getting personal experience for business leaders among many other high school students and allowing them the opportunity to get involved in their high school. course, well, FBLA definitely helps our community in an indirect way, I would say. I think that it's helping educate high school students on getting more involved in their business life, and I think that it's an indirect solution in helping the community in preparing young leaders for be able to venture into their adult lives.
So we do have various other competitions in FBLA. We have testing events, and that's for people who want to compete but don't necessarily want to talk to a judge because public speaking is scary sometimes. And then we also have prepared events, which gives kids who like speaking in front of a judge a little bit of an opportunity to have an alternate option to off the cuff. So we have a wide range of events for everybody. As for the community, it's super important to support clubs like FBLA, especially within high school chapters, because it's giving the next generation a little bit of a boost and connecting them with job opportunities and making sure that once they graduate high school, they are doing their best and using all of their abilities to maximize their job potential in the workforce.
We'll be back in just a moment with the recap of some of today's stories and your complete local weather forecast right after this.
Honey, I got the space heater.
Make sure you survive winter. Call Central Washington Heating and Air before it's too late. This winter, don't get shocked by the cold. Call Central Washington Heating and Air today.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise. Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well-versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set. These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, serving all of North Central Washington. We make it our priority to learn all about your financial needs. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or want a reverse mortgage, our mortgage professionals are ready to guide you through the loan process. We have a wide variety of loan products to fit your family's needs. Call Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee today for your pre-approval. 509-888-0466.
Time now for a recap of some of our top stories. The Hearst rural water rights debate is over following action by the state legislature late yesterday. The House and Senate have approved a compromise to address the controversial state Supreme Court ruling on water conservation. The bipartisan bill relaxes the court-ordered regulations on small wells and spends $300 million on water conservation projects throughout the state. State lawmakers also passed a $4.3 billion capital budget, which had been held up by Republican lawmakers until the Hearst fix was completed. Governor Jay Inslee says he intends to sign both the Hearst legislation and the construction budget as soon as they reach his desk. Sentencing is slated for Monday for one of 3 suspects in the 2017 murder of a Quincy area woman. 26-year-old Ambrosio Mendez Villanueva pleaded guilty this week to second-degree murder in the death of 31-year-old Jill Sundberg. 2 co-defendants are scheduled for trial in April. Mendez Villanueva, 40-year-old Gustavo Tapia Rodriguez, and 26-year-old Julio Cesar Albaran are accused in the kidnapping and murder of Jill Sundberg. Sundberg's body was found December 22nd near a rest stop on the Old Vantage Highway. Prosecutors allege Sundberg was killed after she got into an argument with one of the men at an RV park near Quincy. Her body was riddled with bullets and a message posted on her chest with a knife referencing a Mexican drug cartel. During testimony before the U.S. Senate's Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee in Washington, D.C., Chief Deputy Ryan Rechtenwald said the murder suspects are in this country illegally. It will now be up to area voters on whether or not to approve a Link Transit 0.2% sales tax increase to fund Sunday bus services, have more frequent routes, and to provide longer hours of service. At a special Link Transit board meeting earlier this week, the board decided to place the issue on the upcoming November ballot. Link board member Kevin Overbay explains why the board decided to wait until this fall.
We really want to make sure that it's transparent, that they understand exactly why it is that Link is asking for the increase in sales tax, what would actually be provided to the citizens with regards to the improvements to the Link system, and how that was going to look. And so, you know, realistically, we want to take a step back. We wanted to do our due diligence. We wanted to be transparent, and basically wanted to let them know, give the voters an opportunity to actually have all of that information, you know, in their hands before they actually cast their ballot.
I know here at the Transportation Council meeting this morning, there are also some questions about, well, why doesn't Link just raise the fares instead of going to the sales tax?
Yeah, the fares actually, even if they were to raise them, to double them, it would actually only provide about $600,000 additional revenue. The sales tax increase, which when you really break it down, it's about 2 cents, you know, once the 2 cent amount would be implemented, would be 2 cents on $10 or 20 cents on 100, would actually run about $8 per person or $24 a household. Really comes out to be about $6 million revenue versus the $600,000 revenue. And so realistically, by raising the fares, it only generate 10% of what the sales tax would generate. So and that would not be enough to actually increase the services that were identified by those folks that took the survey that was sent out this last year.
And now time for a look at North Central Washington weather forecast. But before we get to that, let's go back to yesterday and take a look at a video that was sent to us of the Washington western coastline. In fact, this was by Westport, where waves along the Pacific in that part of western Washington yesterday were up to 30 feet in height. I don't know if we can get to that video or not, but it was a wicked one on the western Washington coast as an area of low pressure kicked up winds and caused those waves to crash into some homes. Here we go into western Washington. You can see some of those waves coming in. And we do want to thank Lori Darlino for this video, but you can see the waves coming over the deck of houses and then down some streets in the Westport area yesterday. Well, luckily, none of that here in our area. And today, we enjoyed another quiet weather day here in north central Washington with slightly cooler temperatures and partly sunny skies. Highs today were generally in the upper 30s. We will see some residual moisture from an area of low pressure that's lingering. You can see that just off the coast of British Columbia. That will increase our chance for precip to about 30% tonight for a rain-snow mix. That system will then move north overnight, allowing for a bit of a break from any winter weather for most of the day tomorrow. But by Saturday night, the next area of low pressure moves in from the Pacific. You can see that larger area of low pressure well out in the Pacific. That will increase our chance for snow on Sunday to 80%. By Sunday night, we could see around 1 to 2 inches of new snow here in the Wenatchee Valley. Another brief break in our active weather on Monday before the next round of winter weather comes our way on Tuesday. And let's take a look at that forecast now. And tonight we will drop down to 31 degrees with, I mentioned, about a 30% chance of showers. For Saturday, we'll climb to about 40 for our high temperature before more wet stuff moves in on Saturday night. Sunday, our best chance for snow, as I mentioned, 1 to 2 inches there. By Monday, 40 degrees. We'll see more wet stuff on Tuesday and Wednesday. And by Thursday, high temperatures about 36 with lows in the upper 20s. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around north central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888 NCWL. Also keep it right here on the NCW Life channel Monday morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley with your host Dan Kuntz and News with Steve Hare. Thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.
This has been NCW Life News on the NCW Life channel. For more news, log on to ncwlife.com, like us on Facebook, and follow NCW Life channel on Twitter.
Weekly. For the newest tech, coolest tech, and the craziest tech stories available on the interwebs, tune in for your weekly tech update right here on the NCW Life channel.